Matt Miller from ESPN just dropped his 7 round mock draft. You got to have ESPN Plus to be able to see it. But guess who has it? And guess who's going to talk to you about it? All that and more on this, the No Horsing Around podcast. Okay, you guys. So Matt Miller, who I generally like, a mock draft guy. He's kind of worked his way from Bleacher Report. Now he is on ESPN. He's their draft analyst, kind of essentially having taken the place of one Todd McShay, essentially. Um, he has released his 7 round mock draft. And my God, is it something to behold for the Colts, right? We have talked endlessly. We have about 28 days at this point till the actual NFL draft on what the Colts needs and where they could potentially go. We've talked about receiver. We've talked about corner. We've talked about safety and safety not being a deep class, but we've talked about safety. We've talked about maybe potentially an edge, right? Maybe you trade back. We've talked about all these things, right? Brock Bowers. So you would think, as a national person who this is what he does, he would have a pretty good kind of read on what those needs are. But oh my God, you start looking at it and you realize he goes chalk with a lot of it. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, he does a couple trades. So we go down to the Colts, right? We go down to the Colts picking at 15, obviously, and he has them taking Byron Murphy the second, a D tackle from Texas. I'm sorry, but I don't remember talking about D tackle being a need. You've got DeForest Buckner. You re-signed Grover Stewart, right? Oh my God, what is happening? Even in his explanation, he talks about how he lined up mostly at 5 technique in college, but he's going to be really good to slide next to DeForest Buckner. Grove is not a 5 tech. It doesn't make any sense why you would make this pick. And I think it dumbfounds me even more as I go through and Quinyon Mitchell's still on the board. Terrion Arnold's still on the board. Jared Verse is still on the board. J.C. Latham, but you don't really need an offensive tackle. Nate Wiggins is still on the board. Cooper DeJean is still on the board. It's just the first pick when you look at that and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? So you're like, okay, well, it's got to get better, right? You're like, okay, you go to the second round, they're going to attack some needs. No. Let's get to where the Colts pick again, and it blows my mind again. Marshawn Nealon, a D end out of Western Michigan. Quiddy Pay, right? Samson Ibukan, huh? Coming off of a pretty good season, and you have them taking a D end from Western Michigan in the second round. So you're not attacking any of the needs that have been well documented at this point that they have, or areas where they can improve or, raise the floor of that unit. This makes no sense to me. I mean, and then you look through who's still on the board. Ricky Parasol still on the board. That'd been a great pick, right? Malachi Corley, great pick. We've seen that they have interest in him. Devontae Walker would be a great pick. You just kind of, as you go through and you see who's Troy Franklin. We know Reggie went out and watched him at his pro day. It's crazy. And then you go on, you go to round 3. I'm not going to give everything away because, that would just be mean. But you go to round 3, they finally attack. They go to cornerback, right? And they go Chris Abrams Drain from Mizzou. But I mean, if you're just looking at their first 2 picks, I don't get it at all. This looks like someone playing with a mock draft simulator to me. It really does, where you're like, I just got to pick this one. That's the highest person on the board. I'm just going to pick this person. It doesn't make any sense. It's in my opinion, it's one of the worst mock drafts I think I've ever seen. I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do you think that's bad? You heard the names that were still on the board when he had them picking these players. It's just, oh, I don't have words. There's so many areas to attack. If Chris Ballard picks a defensive tackle at 15, people are going to want to murder him, right? If he waits till round 3 to attack corner, and then I'm not going to give it all the way. Obviously, I said I wouldn't, but round 4 is where he finally has them attacking safety, Tyke Smith from Georgia, and then round 5 is finally where he goes after a wide receiver and Taj Washington from USC. It's such a bad, miscalculated, unknowing mock draft. I don't have words for it. It's just so bad. I want to hear what you guys think. I went kind of through the round 5. I'm not going to go deeper than that because that's kind of, we don't know who these guys are most of the time. I'm not a draft Nick, but what do you think of what I'm saying? Like, you guys heard me earlier in the season, Tara Hole and Keon Coleman being mocked to them because he was the 4th wideout off the board, and all the people who, according to this mock draft, were still on the board. And this is like completely overpassing your needs, especially in that first round pick. The people who were still on the board that could come in and help your team immediately, right? You pass them over. I'm sorry, Matt Miller. You get a big wet juicy fart on this one, man. It's just not strong. So drop it in the comments to what you guys think. Tell me what you think if this is that bad, or am I overreacting? Okay. As always, you guys like, share, subscribe, comment. Make sure you do all those great things. And as always, I love you. I know the Colts love you. I'm out.